All right, we're live.
All right.
Right. Hey, everybody. If you are on, welcome to another webinar with myself. My name is Courtney Luce. I work with Donate, and then the main presenter today will be our founder and rock star, Steve Roseman. And like you saw when you registered, we're going to talk about some fundraising strategies. So both for some immediate stuff, what you can start now, especially in Q1 as we're starting a new year. I'm sure a lot of you are really just ready to start fresh and get this year starting well, but then also just some long-term stuff and what you can do to kind of maintain your fundraising efforts and your donor relationships and all that good stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so if you are with us right now, please enter in your name and where you're from in the chat and maybe organization that you're with. And then just also a heads up throughout the presentation, if you have any questions, type them in the chat, and then we will either get to you right away or we can use some time at the end to answer all of your questions. We have a very social guest.
Yeah, we also
London.
a little bit. He's over here bouncing on the couch here, which is not a good thing, but he's learning how to do flips and somersaults. So
hopefully no broken bones during the webinar.
No, not yet. So yet. All right.
So yeah, we'll wait just probably another minute or so before you jump in. It's already 11:02, but if you are just joining us, we, like you know, are talking about some fundraising strategies, both some long-term and short-term goals that you can have for your organization. But also type in the chat if you want to, where you're from, organization you're with, and type in any questions that you have in the chat as well. We will do our best to answer them.
Absolutely. All right.
Yep, and like I said, our main presenter today is our CEO and founder, Steve Roseman. So he knows a whole lot about fundraising and fundraising strategy. He's been in this space for 10 plus years and has been doing this for a very long time. So he knows what he's talking about. He has not only put into practice these strategies, but I've also seen the results from them as well. Yeah, well, again, thank you guys for joining us. We're excited to have you here. And this is being recorded, so if for whatever reason you know somebody who couldn't make it, or you need to jump off at any point, or you arrived late, then you will receive a recording a couple hours after the webinar ends. So I will officially hand it over to Steve.
All right. Well, I know people will be jumping up as we get through some of this, but the main thing that, like Courtney had mentioned for years, I think it's been 11, 12 years now in the nonprofit world, not only as a founder of my own nonprofit years ago. My grandfather was as many of you know who know me, I talk about my grandfather all the time, biggest mentor of my life, even at a young age. But so when he passed, I wanted to be able to launch a nonprofit in his memory, and very naive at age 28 in the nonprofit space, mainly from a standpoint of uneducated. I traveled around the country, was very blessed in my first business, and then started the nonprofit. Yeah, like I said, in memory of him, focusing on MS. And what I learned along that journey is it's a lot harder to sell a cause than a product. But also, I learned that it wasn't necessarily about MS. It was really about helping people. And many of you on the call, have potentially worked for multiple nonprofits, and, through a lot of conversations we have. Once you dive into the nonprofit world, many people will tell you, and I'm sure you're the same way, that it just kind of gets it in your blood, and you just love the industry and you love helping people, no matter if you're focusing on, cancer, diabetes, I mean, you name it. It's just a great place to be. But I also can say, I think it's a good place to be when it's good, and when it's bad, it's bad. And so that's really what I want to talk about today is fundraising strategies. like I said, I've been right there with you. My first nonprofit, I operated for 6 years until We Do charity auctions got too big. I just couldn't operate both at the same time. The beauty about We Do is I was still able to help the nonprofit space. I was able to be a part of many missions, many events. And so through that process, learned a lot. And so that's what I want to dive into. A few fundraising strategies. I just want to, because this is designed to be short and quick webinar, and I'm just going to dive into a few things here. So first, let's see if I can work this thing properly, is going to be really where your mind is. Are you playing the short game or long game? Because those are two different strategies that we're going to play with. Both are necessary. So as we go through this, make sure you ask any questions that you might have. But both, I believe, are necessary to the fundraising world. First, if we look at the short game, what I'm referencing is really things that are unpredictable and not sustainable. We talk about events. Now, we all know, no matter how great your event team is, COVID just showed events are not sustainable. Promos like Giving Tuesday. Once again, we have strategies, we have documentation, but you can't predict exactly how well it's going to go. You can look at past history and yes, we're doing well, but it's still not predictable. You don't know if somebody's going to donate the same amount of money this year as they did last year. Grants, some people would say, 25% of our fundraising is grants. A grant can disappear at any time. You've seen it happen here locally where we're from. Finish Line got purchased. Finish Line used to be very charitable in their giving and had different processes. When the new company came in, it took over. They just had different philosophies. So things changed. I know specific 2 different nonprofits that lost $25,000 a piece annually because that grant no longer existed. Sponsorships, anybody who knows me knows that I'm not a big fan of sponsorships because that's a short-term play as well. We've talked to a lot of organizations. They couldn't have an in-person event. Sponsors didn't want to sponsor. So it's really that simple. So those are some examples of what I mean by short game. Once again, valuable. So let me go back to that. Events have their purpose. Promos like Giving Tuesday have their purpose. Grants have their purpose. Sponsors, they have their purpose. It's just not what I'm talking about when it comes to sustainability. It's that short term. We need a burst of 100 grand. We need a burst of 25 grand. That's when you use those types of strategies. So let's talk about the long game for a second. So when I talk about long game, I'm talking about partnerships. And let me be very clear. Partnerships are very different than sponsorships. And we could talk about that, on a different call, but one is a long-term play, takes a little while. One is a short-term play. Hey, sponsor my event. Partner, it's sponsor my mission. Monthly donors and volunteers. Anybody understands relationships? That is a long-term play. People are not going to start donating to you monthly because you met them and you had a good conversation over a beer or a coffee or a good lunch. It takes a long time to develop that relationship to make that happen. Ambassador programs. I look at this. This is your army. If you built a great ambassador program, and we'll have a webinar specifically dedicated to that. We're working on that now because not only do we want to map out what that looks like, but also the strategies to make that happen. Revenue sources. We're talking about e-commerce, investing, service partnerships, many more. Those are just a few examples. So one thing I want to talk about short term. So let's go with short game. This is current COVID 2021. Because by the way, COVID's not over because the year changed. So people are still in the same mindset, right? They're a little bit more positive. But to me, this is the fastest way. If you're in a situation right now, like many organizations, their fundraising wasn't as strong. There's a few industries or categories within the nonprofit world that have continued to thrive because of who they are, right? So we have food banks that have been thriving. We have entities that focus on mental health have been thriving. Entities that domestic violence have been thriving. These are all things that people are aware that are getting worse because of COVID. So they haven't had any problems. If they have, it's because they're not asking. And that's for a different time, different conversation. But Really, I came up with this. It's not, oh, that's not true. I didn't come up with this. This is something that if I had my own nonprofit right now, which you guys will hear here in a couple months, we're launching the Donate Foundation. And when we launch, we're probably going to do this exact same strategy. I call it the 4x4 Virtual Event Challenge. 4x4 means build out all your content and your strategy in 4 days, take another 4 days to execute. It's an 8-day total program that anybody can do. So this is how you would do it. You would set your goals. I don't know, maybe you just need a quick 5,000, right? So you set your goals with your team, how you're going to execute, what that $5,000 is going to go towards. So you want to start building your content. Then also create rewards. When you're doing an event like this, a virtual event, have rewards for the people that are out there promoting. If you're doing peer-to-peer, and that's what I'm recommending here, put rewards out there. Why not? It encourages people to continue to promo. And what I'm talking about rewards is like gift cards to restaurants. Amazon gift cards are always great because then it's universal. The second is create a quick video regarding the goals and mission. When I'm talking about a quick video, don't go hire a professional firm unless you have access to that. I'm talking about grab your phone, grab your nice fancy Android here or Apple and film it. Have somebody, if you feel awkward about that, have somebody else hold it. I don't know, get a tripod. I don't care. Just a quick 2 to 3 minute video about what you're trying to achieve with that goal. Be very, very specific and talk about that. So if your mission, for example, is, I was talking about this morning, it's one of the programs we're going to be doing with the Donate Foundation with mental health. We're going to be building faith-based peer groups. Okay, so say it costs us $5,000 to create the curriculum and have everything and all the tools that everybody's going to need. So I'm going to talk about a quick video of who we are, what we're trying to achieve, and how much that's going to cost. And so if we can raise this money, we can execute on X. So that's what the video should be about. Like I said, 2-3 minutes. Number 3 is assemble your volunteers and ambassadors. Depending on what you're talking about, I mean, they're interchangeable. These are your most powerful and overlooked people. Make sure you equip them with the proper tools. I can't tell you how many events I've been to, whether it's a volunteer event or a charity event, for fundraising. I talk to a volunteer. I'm at an event. I don't know everything about the charity. I ask a volunteer and they're like, you know what? I don't really know much about that. Okay, that is horrible planning. Those people are on your front line. Like I said before, this is your army to go out there and serve your mission. So educate them and give them the tools, whether that's a flyer or a website. Obviously, we run Donate. To me, you'll find out flyers, I don't know. I'm not 85, 90 years old. Don't send me a PDF flyer. I'm not going to open that. I'm not going to look at it. Definitely not going to print it off. I mean, we're in the world of saving trees, right? And eco-friendly stuff. Why are we printing off PDFs? We have websites and links that are fluid and, you can send that to everybody and it makes it easy. Well, 1, 2, 3, and back to number 1, apparently. That's my fault on a typo there. Launch and keep people involved. Announce the winners. I don't know why this sticks in my head, but if you're over the age of like 35 or 40, maybe they've done this recently. I don't know. But I remember McDonald's, right? They used to do these Monopoly games and you can win these prizes. And somebody was supposed to get, $1 million or something like that. If they can get the little sticker, they get like Boardwalk and I forget the other one, Park Place or something. I don't even know. I don't play enough Monopoly. But nobody ever found out if anybody ever won anything. They never announced it. So many people would just be like, oh, it's a scam. Nobody ever wins. It's just a promo to get more sales. Do you know how well you would do it with your next challenge, your next campaign, if you announce people who won things? They helped you raise X. This person won an Amazon gift card. This person won a mani-pedi. I don't know, whatever you come up with, the key would be to get that stuff donated and not come out of your pocket. But, announce those people, share the stories, because this piece right here is starting to flow into the long game. A perfect short game strategy would be execute a great short term for the long term. And I'll explain what I mean. So the biggest piece in that is keep them involved. Super simple. share stories, testimonials, things of that nature. Because the long game, first, let's take a step back. First, man, I got a bunch of typos here, 1 and 1. First thing you want to do is if you raise 10 grand from the short game, that 4x4 event, virtual event, take 25% or more and put it into an investment. That simple. It's just like our parents. Well, not all of our parents. I wasn't taught about money at a young age. As I got older, I started to learn about money and I started to learn about savings. Why are businesses not doing what we're told as individuals? Raise money, save money. So come up with a formula that you can afford as a nonprofit that you can set aside for investments. Not risky investments, do non-risky investments, because the whole goal, everybody's heard of the Lilly endowment, right? Basic concept. A lot of money in an account. They then grant money throughout the year that is based off the interest they earned. So that pie always stays there. So say they raised 5%. Jay just anyway. I'll get to you on that. Does it say? Sorry, I'll get with you on that, Jay. So the simple concept, right? Put 100,000 in the bank, only use the interest. Eventually, because once again, this is a long game, right? Eventually, that pie continues to grow. You do programs. Eventually, you're going to do capital campaigns to build that pie up even more. And then what you do is you then grow that interest, and so you have more reoccurring revenue. Imagine if you were able to operate your entire nonprofit off the interest that came from your investment. The beauty about that from a fundraising standpoint is you get to tell everybody every time that you push out a message that 100% of the money that you are raising goes to the mission, which is a rarity, but people love it. And you can explain why that is true because you've already taken the strategy and implemented it so you can make that happen. The second part, or number one in this slide's case, is sell something valuable. Once again, this is a long-term strategy. Don't just go get a bunch of bad popcorn and start selling it. Create an e-commerce store, stuff that multiple things that people actually care about. The second thing I mentioned here is direct marketing. A lot of people might not have the best stigma about direct marketing, but the reality is they have some of the best products, right? That was my first business. I sold my first $1 million in that industry. I was so blessed to be in that industry. I was in nutrition and I was able to help people. And right now there's a gentleman, a good friend of mine that has done very, very well in that industry. And he has 8 churches that they have a direct marketing account. And they right now are earning consistent revenue monthly to be able to allocate towards programs. Affiliate programs. A lot of people are not familiar with this. Affiliate programs are a similar concept where you're promoting other products so that you can do that. Lemon, please turn that off. I'm on this. Turn off. Thank you. So with the affiliate programs, you can execute that as well. And then partnerships. Long-term development, you're going to ask companies to commit 3 to 5 years to you. It's really that simple. You're going to ask them to commit to you, and you're going to commit to them. That simple. So last slide here. Do good together. So this is what I'd like to do. I know, Jay, I got to get to one of his questions, but anybody who would want to take me up on that 4x4 challenge, shoot me. You can't see it here. I can't move my picture, but email me at steve@donate.com. Reference challenge me in that email. And let's talk about, because I like to reward organizations that do quick challenges like that. So shoot me over an email with a reference of challenge me. So here, let me answer some questions here. COVID at its finest, right there. All right, what do we got? Talking about Eli Lilly. 5%. Courtney, do you want to jump in? Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't really a question. I think he was just
Okay.
clarifying.
All right. Well, if anybody has any questions, feel free to shoot them over. But like I said, I wanted to be, we're at, our 20-minute mark here. So I want to be precise on that. I can go back to some slides if you need me. But the reality was a quick short term. I wanted you to have a takeaway. Quick short term thing you can do now. Like I said, 8 days. And something that you can do long term as well. I think one oversight in the nonprofit world is generating consistent revenue streams, just like any other business would. If you're an apparel company, you don't typically just sell t-shirts. You sell t-shirts, you sell jeans, you sell hats, you sell, what have you. So.
Yeah. And I also want to say too, we have a special offer right now, hopefully until the end of January, just offering a free strategy call with either myself or Steve to talk about your 2021 fundraising, so you can get really nitty gritty with your fundraising for the year and actually help you implement some of those, whether it be fundraising campaigns, volunteer events, stuff like that, into your profile and donate. So I'm going to chat the calendar link to schedule that call, but it's an hour that you get with us at least, and it's a really cool opportunity to pick our brains and ask any questions that you have.
Yep. And just to go back, because I know Jay asked in reference yesterday about different strategies. So note that, let's see if I can do this. I'll go back to the short game first. We're going to do strategy sessions just on events. There's so many different kind of events that we can do, right? I mean, there's galas, there's walks, there's bowling events. It's the one event, and don't steal this if you're in the state of Indiana. But as Courtney knows, the only event that I have any interest in throwing as we start to, and it's probably not going to be true, but at least if I'm involved, it's only one I'll help plan, but is a luau. Because how can you not have fun at a luau? Well, it's family friendly, right? So for me, it's about awareness. It's not about if we don't raise enough money, we can't fulfill our mission. That's not the type of event that I personally want to throw. I know some organizations need to throw that type of thing. I can't say I agree with it. I think you should not put so much put so much writing on a big event like that. But promos like Giving Tuesday, we can spend forever on that. Grants and grant strategies, some great things we have coming up. I got some information yesterday that there's already, this is not confirmed fact, so I got to do some digging. I'll do some digging for everybody. But there's already 18, from what I hear, 18 states that have come together and agreed that I think it's called the Common App or something like that. And it's an application for grants. And 18 states are now recognizing this one application that will be used for all individuals using grants in those states. Sponsorships, we can talk about that. And then once again, partnerships. This is one thing that we work with a lot of people on. Like I said, I'm going to break down exactly how you can go to a company and ask for a 3 to 5 year commitment. But what you have to do to earn their trust to not only get that, but also so you can continue to get that. Monthly donors, we might have a couple of series on that. Ambassador programs, revenue streams, things of that nature. So let me know too. There's some insight that I can give you on the revenue streams, but I just wanted to recap on that because there's things that we are going to dive pretty in depth, in terms of processes. So.
Yeah. And we're always open to suggestions. So if there's anything you want to know more about, or you're just like itching to learn, let us know and we can turn it in to this. You don't always have to see our faces either. We have a big community that will bring in other experts that can just talk more on certain subjects than we can.
Absolutely.
So we're always open to ideas, critiques, anything.
Yep. All right. Well, if nobody else has anything, I appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us. And again, we have some upcoming webinars next week. You'll receive those in an email following this with your recording. So be sure to check those out and then just follow us on social media so that you can keep up to date with everything that we have coming up.
Fantastic.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys.
Have a good one, everyone.